We're continuing on Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim, Hilchot Shabbat. We're up to Siman Resh Tzadibet, the halachot of Mincha of Shabbat afternoon. Maran writes, Bemincha motzi'in Sefer Torah vekorin shlosha anashim. Mincha of Shabbat, we have Kriyat Torah. We call up 3 people, 10 psukim minimum, because that's the minimum Kriyat Torah that we have, aside from Parashat Amalek, which is 9. We've discussed this already before. So 10 psukim for 3 people from the upcoming parasha that is going to be read next Shabbat morning. Even if you have Yom Tov, that's also Shabbat. Yom Tov afternoon, there's no Kriyat Torah. But Shabbat afternoon there is. So therefore, Yom Tov plus Shabbat, is the same day is Shabbat and Yom Tov, you still will be reading the upcoming parasha of the next week on Shabbat afternoon, not the parasha of Moadot on that Kriyat Torah. Says the Mishna Berura, we say, Va'ani tefilati, again, this is the Ramah in parentheses that says, on Shabbat, we say Ashrei, we say Uba Letzion, and we say Va'ani tefilati lecha Hashem. That is based on a midrash, says the Chafetz Chaim, that David HaMelech said to Hashem, Ribono shel olam, en umazo ke'ovdei gilulim. Your nation, Am Yisrael, is not like the Goyim. What do Goyim do? They have good food, they drink, they get drunk. Hashem Yerachem mi arev. What they're going to do, who knows? The very minimum is that they're going to be sleeping. Shotim umishtakrim upohazim v'anu lokin. We're not like that. Even on the day of our pleasure, day off, even though that we have good food, afal pisha achalnu v'shatinu v'ani tefilati lecha Hashem. Right away, even in the short winter days, we're running back to shul to learn, to daven. V'ani tefilati lecha Hashem. Hashem, I'm offering my tefillah to you. And therefore, it's a tremendously powerful pasuk to say, because it's a senegoria on Am Yisrael. You are a defense lawyer, so to speak, on Am Yisrael, saying, making their case how amazing Klal Yisrael is. Yom Tov is not like that. Because you don't have Kriyat Torah, which makes the time an et ratzon. By the way, one of the Asah Sefer that gathered 16 different things that are mentioned in Chazal as et ratzon, as a time appropriate for tefillah, and one of the greatest ones is for ptichat echal of Shabbat afternoon. The Zohar HaKadosh calls this et ra'avad ravin, the greatest shat ratzon that there is, and hence is not something to miss. You don't want to miss the opportunity. You want to come early, learn, daven. And once I have the mic, I could say more, that it's not appropriate for people that they come Shabbat afternoon with a casual dress to shul. If you're wearing a proper suit, a proper tie, a proper attire as it should be for Shabbat morning, so much more so for Shabbat afternoon, that a person should appear with a proper attire befitting the day and the Kedusha of Shabbat afternoon, which is even higher than Shabbat morning. We don't say we don't have Kriyat Torah. On Shabbat we say it in any case. Now, this Shabbat afternoon reading of the Torah is Takanat Ezra, right? We have Kriyat Torah as partially Takanat Moshe Rabbeinu and partially Takanat Ezra. So this is part of Takanat Ezra, as the Gemara discusses in Masechet Megillah Daf Chaf Aleph, that Ezra was metaken that we should have Shabbat afternoon Kriyat Torah Shlosha Anashim. We don't say Kaddish, of course, and any Kriyat Torah in the afternoon, there's no Kaddish, which means either in Shabbat, Ta'anit, Yom Kippur, doesn't make a difference. There's no Kaddish on the reading Torah of the afternoons. Rak lifnei ha'amud kodem tfilat Shemona Esrei. Before Shemona Esrei, we say Kaddish, v'kainam yaseh for Torah. That Kaddish goes back on the Torah as well. So, rule of thumb, Kriyat Torah of the evenings never gets Kaddish. The reason is very simple, because right after this you have the tefillah that Chelek was going to say Kaddish before Shemona Esrei. There's no pause between Kriyat Torah and Shemona Esrei. If you say it by Torah, then you can't say it by the Amud once more, and therefore we do not say it on the Kriyat Torah. We just wait for the Shlach Tzibur to take the Amud, and then when he's starting Tefillat Musaf, or in this case Tefillat Mincha rather, would be the appropriate time for saying Kaddish. You always want the Shemona Esrei to start right after Kaddish. Shacharit is different. You say Ashrei afterwards. And Mizmor David, all those things. So therefore, it has a pause in between. Says the Mishna Berura, V'lo b'shem Yom Tov, that you don't say it in Yom Tov either. The ha-kriya inenu b'shvil Yom Tov, because the Kriyat Torah and Shabbat Yom Tov, which Shabbat that also happens to be Yom Tov, it's not because of Yom Tov, it's only because of Shabbat, because on a regular Yom Tov, which is not Shabbat, there's no reading of Torah in Mincha of a Yom Tov. So therefore, you just stick to the parasha of the next Shabbat, which would be the proper reading of Shabbat afternoon. It says, Shulchan Aruch in Seif Ped, Omrim Sitkatcha, V'imchal Yom Tov, She'ilu Haya Chol. We say Sitkatcha, we call this Sus, because there's 3 psukim of Sitkatcha. Sitkatcha, Vesitkatcha, Sitkatcha. That's how it starts, the 3 psukim. So Sadi, Vav, Tzadi, Tzutz, they call it. Right? And the reason we do say it is because Sidu Kadin. Sidu Kadin we say when someone has passed away. On Shabbat, you would ask, why would you say such a thing? Because the 3 tzaddikim that we lost on Shabbat afternoon, one of them being Moshe Rabbeinu, the other Yosef, and David HaMelech, and therefore we commemorate their passing by saying these 3 psukim of Sidu Kadin. But nevertheless, if Shabbat falls to be, Shabbat we don't say Tachanun generally anyways, but this is the whole point, that they passed away on Shabbat, so we say these psukim to hint to it. But the difference is, if you have another occasion that would cause you not to say Tachanun had it not been Shabbat even, for instance, it would be Yom Tov, or any other, you have a Chatuna, a Brit Milah, whatever it is, and in the shul, then you don't say Tzidkatcha on that Shabbat, which is what the Shulchan Aruch says over here, that if it's a Yom Tov, Shelo hayu omrim bo b'mincha nefilat apayim, that you wouldn't have said nefilat apayim had it not been even Shabbat, then en omrim Tzidkatcha. Then we do not say, we skip Tzidkatcha. V'nahagu shelo likboa midrash ben mincha le'arvit. The minhag is not to have a seder, a shiur of Torah, a seder limud, between mincha arvit, avol omrim pirkei avot bekayitz, but say pirkei avot Shabbat afternoon in the summertime when the Shabbat afternoons are long, the shira ma'alot bechoref, in the winter we just say shira ma'alot, chol makom lefi minago. Every place, every kehillah should indeed do what their minhag has been. They should not deviate from their minhagim. Now, the minhag is, you don't say Sitkatcha on a bet avel. If you have a Shabbat afternoon minyan in a mourner's house, you don't say Sitkatcha, because again, we don't say Tachanun in bet avel. The minyan that is associated to a mourner, which the way is people gathering in the mourner's house to daven in a minyan. So you don't say tachanun, and therefore the minhag has evolved that on Shabbat also it's not considered showing avelut befaresia. It's not a problem. You still skip sitkatcha in a bet avel. That is the minhag says Chacham Obadia. Now, but if the avel is coming to Bet Knesset, the minyan is not in his house, then Shliach Tzibur says sitkatcha, because the sibur is not dragged after the avel. The only time that you are is when the minyan is there only because of the avel. The people have gathered to have a minyan for the avel, but in a regular shul minyan, a regular time, when they would have been people there anyways, then they're not drawn after him, and hence Shliach Tzibur would say sitkatcha, and the avel himself would just skip that, right? Now, the Mamar Morcha writes, how about if you have a chatan, or a mohel, or a tzandak, or a aviyah ben, right? So he says same thing. You don't say sitkatcha because it's Yom Tov of theirs, and when they're davening with your minyan, the whole minyan is happy for them, with them, and therefore we don't say. Then Kaf HaChaim says the same thing over here in our siman, and that basically is the minhag that has evolved in different communities as well. Now, Rosh Hashanah could fall on Shabbat. Right? When Rosh Hashanah falls on Shabbat, we don't blow shofar, right? All that we know. Now, if Rosh Hashanah is on Shabbat, then there are those who say we would say sitkatcha, even though that normally speaking we would not do nefilat apayim on Rosh Hashanah, because it's Yom Adin, right? It's a siduk adin, it's Yom Adin, you do it, right? And same would be in Yom Kippurim that falls to be on Shabbat, and that's the minhag of many communities to say it, not like the Ramah. Ramah for Ashkenazim says that we skip sitkatcha in that case, but again, the minhag of the Sfaradim is to say Avinu Malkinu. We say Avinu Malkinu on Rosh Hashanah Shechal Liot b'Shabbat, and also we do say sitkatcha as well. So that's the basic minhag. Now, says the Chavetz Chaim in Mishna Berura, sitkatcha, as we mentioned, the metu bo Yosef, Moshe, David. The reason is we are showing our respect to the three leaders and tzaddikim that passed away on Shabbat afternoon, and this is really in Zohar HaKadosh. This is not just the Midrash. Zohar HaKadosh in Parashat Terumah says that these three psukim of sitkatcha is corresponding to Yosef and Moshe and David HaMelech. Sitkatcha ka'areh is Yosef, sitkatcha Elokim ad marom is Moshe, and sitkatcha Sedek is David HaMelech. And the Ashkenazim have a different seder for these psukim, as the Tur explains. And again, the minhag of the Sfaradim is more proper because the seder of the psukim in the Tehillim is the way we say it, and the Sha'ar HaKavarot of Ari HaKadosh also mentions it the way we have in Minhag Sfarad, says the Kaf HaChaim. So therefore, the Sfaradim should definitely stick to their own minhag in this scenario as well. And finishing up, so if bet over here would be, the Chavetz Chaim says, this also is Anu Omrim Siduk Adin Alav Bizman Shenignas V'yesh Mefarshim. There are those who say the Siduk Adin that we say is Le'astik Adin Al HaRashayim Shechozrim L'Geinam B'Motzei Shabbat. We spoke about this in the previous Siman Study Aleph, that the Rashayim go back on Motzei Shabbat, and already from the time of Mincha we are concerned about that, and this is like a Siduk Adin on those who are being returned to their punishment after Shabbat. So that would be another alternative reason for why we say Sitkatcha, and that basically concludes our Siman Resh Tzadi Bet, and we'll continue this journey in the days to come. Chazaku Baruch.